Chapter 13, in which we are again 13. Billy Bombay. I gazed with a kind of wonder at the crickety little man who, like myself, had the power to spy out ghosts. Fighting to the death a moment before, the two buccaneers now burst into huge gales of laughter. "Well, dash my wig," said one. "Seize me soul," said the other. "I ain't laid eyes on you since we cruised the Campeche coast. Aye, 10 years if it's been a day, Billy. But I combed the seas for you, I did, and ha! Now it's yourself has found me. Lou, another second, I'd have slit your throat." "Bilge," said Captain Scratch, grinning as though through his wild beard. "Another half second, I'd have wrung your neck." "Tut, tut. Oh, bless ye for a cunning little peacock. We took ye for Spaniards." Suddenly reminded of his comrades, Billy Bombay snatched up the lantern and held it over the rail. "Hello, shipmates," he called. "Any lads afloat down there avast?" There came no answering call from the water. Captain Scratch hurled a command along the deck. "Lower the boat, darnation! Where's the pack of cowards that man this ship?" "Ah, it's too late for the boat," sighed Billy Bombay, cupping an ear to the night. "Sunk like stones, I fancy. Not a one of them can swim a stroke any more than I can. May their sweet souls rest in peace. Do you have a snort of grog aboard, Harry?" "Cabin boy," snapped Captain Scratch. "You, John, rum for our guest." "Aye, Captain," said Ringrose. "I could use a nip myself." "Lord save me, John, when do you think ye drink with gentlemen? And what are you standing about for in your scrawny legs? Do you think you're a stork? Where are your breeches?" "Why, I saved your life with them, Captain." "Bilge and more bilge. Fetch the grog. Fetch the grog, you witless scarecrow." The cannonballs had mostly rolled to the scuppers and dropped one by one into the sea. Mr. Ringrose gathered up his canvas trousers and upended them. A 5-pounder tumbled out of each leg and clattered to the deck and joined the others, rolling off into the deep. "Dash my wig, so it's Captain Scratch now, is it? Captain, eh?" grinned Billy Bombay. "Lo, you was just a forecastle hand when we shipped together last." "Aye, Billy, I've come up in the world. A gentleman I am these days. Why, I can almost write me own name." "How did you get here? Is your ship standing off in the dark there?" "Ship?" The little man scowled and began twirling out his long mustache. He then explained that he and his comrades, including a renegade Spaniard, had escaped captivity on the island of Hispaniola, so they'd been prisoners. They'd secretly carved a wherry boat out of a fallen cedar log and set their course for this very island. They had been 6 days at sea. At dusk they had sighted not only the island, but also a ship at anchor. They determined to take it. Fearing that we might spy their canoe, Billy Bombay had ordered his men out over the side and turned the boat keel up. Then he had pushed it along like a floating log and come skulking toward us in the night. They had waited alongside until the ship fell silent. When Billy Bombay judged that our crew was asleep, he gave the order to board and fight. But first he had cut a hole in the wherry boat, swamped it, and sunk it to spur his men on. There'd be no turning back. They must do or die. But, Lou, they thought the ship was spooked with dredgies and began jumping about in their own shadows. "Dredgies!" Captain Scratch scoffed, as if he had never heard anything so monstrously foolish. "Dredgies on my ship? Me, that never harmed a seafaring soul?" Captain Scratch, he can lie so quickly, can he? Billy Bombay screwed up one eye and laughed. "You? Why, you yourself was cowering under your bunk like a mouse when we broke in. We wouldn't have found you if we hadn't heard your teeth chattering." "Cowering? Why, I was nightmarish. Oh, me solemn oath upon the holy evangelist if I wasn't. I, with a fever. Oh, with the chills that come on you. Why, a man can't keep his teeth from clacking away. I tell you, the fever's bad in these waters, Billy." "And what was you yammering about? Men walking the plank and murder?" "Oh, sea yarns. It was the pestiferous fever, talking in me sleep, I tell you. But when I awoke and found you trying to string me up from the yards, that made me enormous mad, Billy. Why, it's a miracle you're standing here alive." "Oh, tut, tut. Did I hear you say you set course for this island?" "This very one." Captain Scratch lowered a crafty eyebrow. "Why, there's nothing here but sea turtles and boars and banana trees." "And treasure," Billy Bombay muttered airily, his mustache now drawn out as long and sharp as pins. Captain Scratch's face clouded with suspicion, because Billy Bombay isn't supposed to know about his treasure. And so he's like, and he doesn't want more people to know about the treasure, right? Did Billy Bombay already know about the ghost of Gentleman Jack? I could guess what Captain Scratch was thinking. Was that why Billy had come? To dig up the boxes of plunder for himself? Treasure, did you say? Captain Scratch muttered suspiciously. Oh, yes, Billy answered. Enough for us both. I'll share out with you, Harry, since you've got a ship under your feet. I want safe passage to Tortuga. Captain Scratch filled up like a frog, and I thought he'd explode. You'll share out with me, you beggar? You'll be lucky if I don't cut you up for fish bait. I don't need your blasted eyes to spy me the ghost. I've got a pair of ghosting eyes aboard myself. Ghost? What ghost? Captain Scratch stilled his tongue, and then his gaze narrowed curiously. Treasure. Which treasure? Oh, a Spanish plunder. I buried it myself in an old sea chest, and it's been waiting for me all these years. A sea chest, did you say? Aye. By this time, John Ringrose had come up from below with rum bottles cradled in his arms, but Captain Scratch shoved him aside. He picked up the lantern and led Billy Bombay forward to the sea chest that lay open and empty on the deck. Is this the box? Demanded Captain Scratch. Billy Bombay went over to the chest with his hands and then peered at Captain Scratch. Oh, so you found it, you did, eh? Captain Scratch burst out laughing. Have the Spaniards out your wits, Billy? There was nothing in the box but cannonballs. Cannonballs? 5-pounders they was, John Ringrose grinned. Aye, that's what we skittered along the deck to keep you dancing. Oliver here and meself. Cannonballs, Billy Bombay cried and began jumping about in mortal rage. 5-pounders, oh, you nitwits, blockheads. Don't you know black tarnish from iron? They was Spanish silver. Silver, I tell you. Melted down and cast in 5-pounder molds to fool the thieves. A fortune in silver it was. We painted it black. And you pitched it over the side? Captain Scratch rolled his eyes and gave out an awful sigh. He fell into such a temper that I thought he would hurl the both of us into the sea. We were anchored in deep water, and there was no hope of raising the silver hoard. Ringrose, imbecile, he roared, forgetting that he himself had thrown the first one overboard. He himself had heaved the first 2 cannonballs at seagulls. See what you've done? Out of me sight now, before I forget that I'm a gentleman. He was even forgetting that we had helped save his life. But John Ringrose decided he was in no temper to be reminded of it. Aye, Captain, he said, I'll move myself ashore, we now being 13 aboard ship again. Be gone! I'll go too, I said. I'm as much his fault as Mr. Ringrose. Silence! You'll stay by my side where you belong. He narrowed one eye and began stroking his beard. Aye, between yourself and Billy Bombay, we'll close in on the vaporous gent like crossfire. Ringrose was glad enough to duck out of sight. He went below to fetch his sea chest. Captain Scratch and Billy Bombay made a search of the decks, but not a single cannonball could be found. They gathered up the bottles of rum and retired to the captain's quarters, grumbling and swearing down to their disappointments. Jaboom came twining about me, flicking his sore tail and raising his back for me to scratch. I think we were making each other homesick. We talked to each other in low voices, and then John Ringrose appeared through the forecastle hatch with his sea chest on his back. He lowered a skiff and dropped the jack ladder over the side. My feet were next to useless, but I got myself to the rail. Mr. Ringrose, I said quietly. Aye, sonny. He had a rope around his sea chest and began lowering it to the rowboat. I've joined up with Jack-o'-lantern. What? I know he's ashore. Well, strike me ugly. I did see Gentleman Jack, I whispered, only not where I said he was. Tell Jack-o'-lantern I set my jackknife in the ground to mark the exact location. Tell him to walk about 20 paces forward of it, and that's where the treasure is. His head jerked toward me. The rope burned through his hands, so he was lowering this thing down. He's like, oh, strike me ugly, yeah. And then his head jerked, and he let go of the rope, and his sea chest went, poof. The sea chest fell right into the skiff. His jaw felt like fell like a trap door. Notice sometimes they say his eyebrows jump off his face. Here, his jaw fell like a trap door, like, huh? I had never seen him with such a look of surprise in his face. Slowly he dug through his pockets and handed me for an instant what I took to be a dark twig. "I thought you dropped it, Sonny," he groaned. "I've been meaning to give it back to you." It was my jackknife. So he had put it in the ground and marked it, and then John Ringo said, "Oh, somebody left their knife on the ground," and was going to give it back to him. And that's the end of chapter 13. Chapter 14, in which things come to light in more ways than one. We'll pick that up next time, okay? Have a great day, guys. Talk to you later.